Hello and happy Father's Day to all of the wonderful fathers out there listening tonight or today, whatever time or day you're listening. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to another episode of Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. I'm your host, David Butler. The Cubs have gone 4-3 this past week. They lost 2 out of 3 to Philly, and then took 3 out of 4 against the Pirates at home. The 3 losses were all against some of the NL's top pitchers so far this season, in Zach Wheeler, Jesus Luzardo, and Paul Skeens. The series against the Pirates, all 4 games, were decided by at least 1 run and were really good games. Way closer than we'd want as Cub fans. In today's episode, we will go over recaps from the previous week, some previews for this next week with the Brewers and Mariners, and talk about the upcoming draft. Some players the Cubs should, could, or might be able to try and trade for. Remember, the best way to help grow the podcast is to listen to every episode. Like the episode, share the episode with your friends, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe so that you will never miss an episode. Also, join us on our Facebook page at Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy, and on our Instagram page with the same handle. All-Star voting. Make sure you vote for your favorite Cubs players. It is out and available, and I believe you can vote up to 5 times a day. So get out and vote. Recaps. On Monday's game went 11 innings. Kyle Tucker got the game off on the right foot with a solo homer in the top of the first. Then in the fourth, the Phillies scored their first run on a force out by JT Realmuto, scoring Kyle Schwarber. Then they scored again in the bottom of the fifth off a Weston Wilson RBI single, driving in Otto Kemp. In the top of the eighth, the Cubs tied it up with a solo homer off Ian Happ. The Phillies scattered 16 hits in the 11 innings, while the Cubs only managed to get a total of 5, really struggling offensively. Both teams were held scoreless in the 10th, but then in the 11th, PCA doubles to drive in Kyle Tucker. Then after a wild pitch, PCA gets to third with just 1 out. Dansby Swanson strikes out, though, and then Michael Busch grounds out to end the threat. In the bottom of the 11th, Daniel Palencia goes out for his second inning of relief, allows 4 straight singles, and then the Phillies walk it off on a Brandon Marsh single. Rough way to end it, but with a hit margin of 5-16 in favor of the Phillies, Cubs really didn't have any business winning this game, frankly. Matthew Boyd did a really good job of pitching against Zach Wheeler, though. On Tuesday, Colin Ray gave up 4 runs in 4 1/3 innings, leaving the game down 3-4, but the bullpen shuts the Phillies down after that and allowed the Cubs offense to score 2 in the 6th and tack on 3 more in the 8th to put this game away. Ian Happ hit 2 home runs, and Michael Busch and Dansby Swanson each hit a solo shot as the Cubs control the game after both starters get chased early. On Wednesday, the Phillies jumped all over Ben Brown early, scoring 3 in the first, 1 more in the third, and 2 more in the fourth, while the Cubs only managed 1 run in the fourth against Jesus Luzardo. The offense can't get going against Luzardo, and the Cubs strike out a total of 11 times, 10 of them to Luzardo. The total was 7-2. A rough day against another really good pitcher as the Cubs continue to struggle against elite pitching lately. Thursday, the Cubs kick off a 4-game set against the Pirates in the right way with a 3-2 win. Jameson Taillon goes 6 1/3 and was cruising along through 6 innings. He ran into a little trouble in the 7th, though, and needed Keller and the rest of the bullpen to come in and close it out. That is what they did. Keller, Palencia, and Presley did what they are becoming great at doing, and shut down the opposing hitters once again. Friday, the Cubs face another dominant starter, and again really struggled to score some runs against Paul Skeens. The most surprising part here, though, was that the Cubs chased Skeens after 5 innings because of his pitch count, and only managed to score 1 run in the next 5 innings, scoring that in the bottom of the 8th. The Pirates also managed only 1 run in the top of the 8th as well, and the game went to extra innings. The Pirates managed to get a run across in the top half of the 10th after loading the bases. The Cubs were unable to move the ghost runner over to third in the bottom half of the 10th, and the Cubs lose the game. If you told me we would chase Paul Skeens after 5 in a scoreless game, I would have really liked our chances. Saturday's game had Matthew Boyd versus Mike Burrows. This looked great on paper. Boyd did his part, going 6 innings, allowing 1 hit on 1 run, a home run to Andrew McCutchen as the second batter of the game. But the Cubs can't pull ahead until the bottom of the 6th on a Dansby Swanson solo shot. The Cubs win another close one. Sunday, the Cubs looking to win the series after dropping the last 2 against Philly and Detroit on the road, gave up 2 runs to the Pirates in the bottom of the 1st against Colin Ray. This was where most of the damage happened against him, though, as he settles down and goes 6 innings of 4-hit baseball. The Cubs were able to answer with 2 more of their own in the bottom half of the 1st on an RBI groundout from Suzuki and a single off Swanson that scored Michael Busch. Both teams struggled to get any offense going after that until the 10th, when the Cubs walked it off on an Ian Happ single scoring Vidal Brujan. Brujan was a ghost runner, pinch running for Justin Turner. Kyle Tucker pinch hit for Reese McGuire and was promptly walked. Brujan and Tucker got a double steal, and then Ian Happ hit a liner to right field to win the game and the series. Previews for this upcoming week. Monday, the Cubs have an off day, and then Tuesday through Thursday, they host the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers are 16-19 on the road, and we've already taken 2 out of 3 from them in Milwaukee. This seems to be a team that has a little more confidence right now, though, than they had when we played them in early May. They have worked their way back to second place in the Central, and you know they would love nothing more than to derail us. Milwaukee comes into the series averaging 5.14 runs per game on the road, with the 3rd best offense on the road this season. The Cubs are averaging just over 5 runs a game at home, even with this recent streak. Offense has been hard to come by at Wrigley lately. The weather is supposed to heat up this Tuesday in Chicago, though, so this may finally be changing. The Brewers' offense is led by Sal Frelick, Jackson Chourio, and Rhys Hoskins. The Brewers' pitching, led by Freddie Peralta, has struggled some on the road, though, with an ERA of 4.17, good for 21st in the league. Then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they host the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners are in second place in the AL West currently, but are not playing the best baseball. They are 17-17 on the road, which really isn't too bad, but they are 3-7 in their last 10. The Mariners' team ERA is just slightly better than Milwaukee's on the road as well, with a 4.15, good for 19th in the league. The offense, though, is 10th best, while on the road averaging 4.65 runs per game, and they are led by Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, and J.P. Crawford. Both of these series will and should be very tough, but the Cubs have to find a way to protect home field and take 2 out of 3 from each team and go 4-2 during the 6 games. Some news and notes. Injuries. Shota Imanaga. Tommy Hotovy provided more of a timeline on Saturday as to what we can expect with Shota, who has been out since May 4th with a left hamstring left hamstring strain and injury. Imanaga pitched 4 scoreless innings in Arizona at rookie ball and struck out 4 without allowing a walk. The hope is that he continues to progress and is able to be on an MLB mound by the end of this month. He is expected to make his next start with Iowa on Friday, June 20th. That is far longer than what the Cubs originally expected when this injury happened, or shortly thereafter, but there can be some silver lining here. Shota is going to be that much fresher and stronger in the second half of the season now as well. Porter Hodge threw a scoreless 14-pitch inning on Friday at Iowa and is scheduled for another appearance on Tuesday. Hopefully that continues to go well and he is back sooner than later. Both of these developments, though, beg the question, who should come off the roster at that point? Obviously, if there's an injury between now and then, that makes it, quote-unquote, easier. But none of us want that to happen either. Players who still have options are Daniel Palencia, Porter Hodge himself, and for the starters, Ben Brown and Cade Horton. With the possibilities here, frankly, it makes no sense for Palencia or Hodge to not be on the ML roster. Both of them are just too good. Palencia has turned into a really great, solid reliever, somebody to depend on in high leverage. And there's no reason to believe that Porter Hodge is not the guy that he was at the beginning of the year and last year. So does Genesis Cabrera get DFA'd? With the starters, I think you can make a strong case for one of two scenarios. Colin Ray or Chris Flexen gets DFA'd, or Ben Brown gets sent to the minors. Brown has been so good at times, but he's also been so bad at times. Generally, I think I lean this way, but do you want both Flexen and Ray in the bullpen? On paper, they are kind of the same guy, although I think Flexen provides slightly more upside but Ray more consistency. Flexen, though, seems to be able to pitch in other situations besides just minor relief or spot starter. I think it makes the most sense to either send Brown down or to DFA Colin Ray, and I think I lean towards DFAing Ray, even though the idea just sucks, because the guy was really good for us at a time where we really needed him to be. Other possible or other injury notes to make, Drew Pomeranz, it did experience some back tightness on Saturday during his appearance. He finished the inning, didn't seem to have much more trouble. However, was unavailable today and will be reevaluated on Tuesday after the off day. Eli Morgan threw a 15-pitch inning on June 14th at rookie-level Arizona, the same day that Shota Imanaga did. Nothing imminent on him, and I'd say it's presumed he would probably go to AAA when he's ready to come back, because he also has options. Catcher Miguel Amaya, who's been on the IL since May 25th with a left oblique strain, started a throwing program on June 13th. I think this is probably still a little ways away from anything significant, and he will still be out for a while. Frankly, I'm hoping he's back around the All-Star break. Let's talk about the offense right now. What is happening with the offense? Is it just a normal part of the season where this is going to be a lull? The offense is finally kind of hit a bit of a snag as a whole, as a team whole. I think that that's probably accurate. However, I've got some stats to show what I'm talking about and some of the alarmness of that. Since June 4th, the Cubs have faced 6 very tough pitchers. I'm not sure you can include Jack Flaherty in this next statement, but I think the other 5 qualify as being top 15 to 20 in the league. This includes Mackenzie Gore, Tarek Skubal, Zach Wheeler, Jesus Luzardo, and Paul Skeens. Skubal, Wheeler, and Skeens, they may very well be in the top 5, those 3 alone. In this stretch, the Cubs have gone 6-6, but they've lost all 6 of those games against those 6 pitchers. After having one of the best offenses in the league for the majority of the season, this has gone to one of the worst in those 12 games. In the 12 games, for the season, the Cubs have had a 9.1% walk rate. During those last 12 games, 5.7%. This season, they have a 20.6% strikeout rate, which is 24th in the league. For this last 12 games, it's gone up to 23.3%, and that's 10th in the league. Batting average for the season at .255, which is 3rd best in the league. Over these last 12 games, it's .222 and 29th, second to last. On base percentage for the season at .325, which is 8th. Right now, in the last 12 games, at .267, last in the league in on base percentage. Slugging, .438 for the season at 4th in the league. The last 12 games at .383, 22nd in the league. OPS, on base plus slugging, .763 for the season, 4th best. .650 over the last 12 games at 27th best, or 4th to last. And the WRC plus, 115 for 4th best in the league for the season, 83, 26th in the league over the last 12 games. Their team ERA has kept them in this. For the season, the team ERA is 3.88, and the team pitching is what I mean. 3.88, that's 15th best in the league. But over the last 12 games, the ERA is 2.51 as a team. That's best. That's second best in the league. Their FIP, fielding independent pitching, 4.12 for the season at 17th. By the way, those season numbers are so much better than they were a month ago. It's absolutely insane. But the FIP for the last 12 games is 3.31, 6th best in the league. So the defense is still really good. The pitching is really good. It's going to help get them through. Frankly, they wouldn't have won the other 6 games, or even maybe half of them, if it wasn't for the pitching. There's some really bright parts about this in that we're finding other ways to win. We're just not finding ways to beat dominant pitching. That is a bit concerning to me, but not like stupid concerning. I think we don't want to overreact. This team is not the same team that it's going to be or that it should be after the trade deadline. Let's see how we're doing in August and September. If we're still struggling with stuff like that in August and September, when we just don't, like the pitching that we've had has been really, really good. But they're just not to the same quality as especially those 5 are. They're just not. James Taillon, pitching great. But he's not Mackenzie Gore, Tar Skubal, Zach Wheeler, Paul Skeens. We could have had Jesus Luzardo, but we didn't think that he passed his physical, and we didn't know that we could trust that. Thanks, Jed. Overall, Jed Hoyer's done a great job this year. Don't misunderstand me. But man, wouldn't it have been nice for us to have had Jesus Luzardo. All-Star voting, again. Make sure you vote for your favorite Cubs players. Get the vote out and get those Cubs players to the All-Star game. I have 8 starting pitchers that I want to talk about and why I think they are options for the Cubs to possibly trade for them. In no particular order, I've got Kyle Freeland, who has struggled some this year, is currently on the IL, but for the season and for his career, he has a 4.89 ERA at home, and on the road, he has a 4.15 away from Coors Field. His average is a little higher than I would like, to be frank, at 274, but for 2025, at home, his ERA is 7.11. On the road, it's 3.64. He has a opposing batting average at 262. He's been a solid pitcher. The one thing he doesn't do that I really want the Cubs to get a little more of is strike people out. And so that's something we could use, but I don't think it's a necessity. I mean, we've proven why. We have a great defense behind these pitchers. And I want to say this, too, about Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland has not been a great pitcher in a while, but he also has not been on a winning team since 2018. Do you know what Kyle Freeland's record was in 2018? He was 17-7 with a 2.85 ERA, a 3.76 expected ERA, a 3.67 expected FIP. All of these are career highs, except the FIP, which is actually a 3.63 this year. If you take Kyle Freeland out of Coors Field this season, he's been a pretty damn good pitcher. I said in no particular order, but Kyle Freeland is probably like my preferred choice right now as to who the Cubs should try and go after. If they're only going to get one starting pitcher, I'm hoping that they go get 2 and they they put in a 6-man starting rotation down the stretch. That's what I want. Another guy I think that they could possibly go get is Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly for the season is 6-2. He has an ERA of 3.18, a FIP of 3.22. He's just pitched really well. He's a free agent after this year. Kyle Freeland is signed through 2027 or 2026. He has a vesting option for 27. Kelly is a free agent after this year. He is 36 years old. This is the kind of guy you don't have to give up a ton for. I don't think you have to give up a ton for Freeland either. But Kelly is not somebody you have to give up a ton for. Zach Gallen is another guy. He's not been as good as his teammate in Merrill Kelly. So I think I'd prefer Kelly a little bit over Zach Gallen. But Zach Gallen's also only 29. He's also a free agent after this year. Somebody that you don't have to re-sign if you don't want to. But it has a 5.19 ERA right now. That is way above what he generally is. Way above. Over the last 3 years, he hadn't posted an ERA of above 3.65. So, I think put him on another winning team, we could see what happens. But I think the other two are probably a little better options. Michael Wacha pitching really well right now in Kansas City, so something to watch there. He has a 3.38 ERA, a 3.9 FIP in Kansas City this year. The year before, he had a 3.65 FIP and 3.35 ERA. Somebody to watch, keep an eye on. He is signed through 2027, so he's not a free agent until 2028. So Kansas City may not make him available, even if they are out of the wild card. But somebody to keep an eye on, somebody to check out. Same with Seth Lugo, who is a free agent after this year. This is his contract year, so they're probably more likely to let him go. ERA of 3.18 right now for the season. His FIP does jump up to 4.79, which means he's probably pitched a little bit into luck. But he has a history of pitching very well over the last several years also. Tomoyuki Sugano, I think I just included him just because he's somebody who's on a contract year. It's his rookie season here in the major leagues. Somebody that Baltimore may look to try and flip. Maybe it's somebody they could get for cheap. Probably my least of these 8 who I like for them to try and go get. Luis Severino is assigned through 2026. He's signed for next year as well. For the A's, he has an ERA of 4.47, a FIP of 3.71, which suggests that he's pitched better than what the results are showing there. Somebody that maybe they could go get. I think that the asking price would probably be a little higher than what the Cubs would want to do for a pitcher like he is. Yusei Kikuchi signed a 3-year deal, so he is signed through 2027. This is probably not somebody that the Cubs would want to go get because of that contract, but he has a 2.92 ERA on a team that is 33-37, falling fast out of a possible playoff run. And so I think that makes him very attractive as far as a guy who can pitch very well, pitch above a Colin Ray or even a Ben Brown right now, and be very, very effective. So I would love to see them get 2 guys here. 2 other options I have with this that I want to go over a little bit. Here are 2 possible trades that the Cubs, in my opinion, could reasonably make to try and strengthen the starting rotation. Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, and these are just examples of why I'm going to lean one way or another, and I'm going to explain more. Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen for our number 7, 11, 19, and 14 prospects, and Brandon Birdsell, Juan Thomas, Juan Cabada, and Cole Mathis. I think that's probably a little much to give up for those 2 guys, but I don't think it's insanely amount because of what Kelly and Gallen can provide. But they are just rentals. Or, just for sake of throwing this out there, Paul Skeens. I think at the minimum it would take what I'm about to say to get Paul Skeens. Ben Brown, Moises Ballesteros, our number 3 prospect, our number 4 prospect in Kevin Alcantara, number 5 in Jefferson Rojas, number 6 in James Triantos, number 9 in Jackson Wiggins, who just helped combine for a no-hitter at AA, number 12 in Jonathan Long, and our number 22 in Ben Callis. And again, I'm not sure that the Pirates would do that because it's in division, and that's a huge risk for one arm. I get it's Paul Skeens, and he is probably the best arm in the game right now. But what are the chances that he blows that arm out at some point? What are the chances? I mean, we once had Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood, who were supposed to be the next great pitching guy. I'm not saying this is going to happen to Paul Skeens, but I'm saying that's a ton to give up, and it's not even guaranteed that that's enough to go get a guy like Paul Skeens. I love the idea of making a huge splash like that. I just don't think it is truly feasible to trade within the division to get a guy like that. I just don't. No. I think the best chance we have at trying to get an ace pitcher is hoping that the Braves continue to fall and that Chris Sale becomes available. I know the Pirates have said that there's no way they're trading Paul Skeens, but I think that anything is possible if enough is thrown at them to do it. Those are my thoughts about who possible we could trade for. I'm not to the point yet where I'm going to say who I think we should definitely trade for, but I think those are 8 guys to really keep an eye on and see what happens as we get closer to the trade deadline. I would love it if we made a move for any of them right now. I just don't think that's going to happen yet because I think some of those teams aren't sure that they want to sell yet, a.k.a. the Arizona Diamondbacks and whatnot. So the Baltimore Orioles I don't think are, and they're like 11 games under 500 right now, but they think that they still have a chance. They've played better baseball recently. Last but not least, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the players that the Cubs might be able to draft or be drafting. Last week I started talking about some players that we might be drafting in the upcoming draft. Including today, I will have 4 more episodes before the day of the draft, and we'll highlight 1 to 2, I've got 2 this week, players the Cubs might draft. Last week we talked about Tyler Bremner, the talented 21-year-old from UC Santa Barbara. This week we're going to talk about Gavin Kallin, a 21-year-old second baseman / infielder from Tennessee. Courtesy of MLB.com, his scouting grades are as follows. Hit is a 60 on a 20 to 80 scale. Power is a 45. Running is 50. Arm is 50. His fielding is 55. And overall, he's a 55. And also, Jace LaViolette, 21-year-old outfielder from Texas A&M. MLB.com scouting grades on this young man are his hit is 45. His power is 65. His run is 55. His arm is 55. His fielding is 50. And overall, he's a 55. Jace, from what multiple scouts that I've read about are saying about him, probably has the most raw power in the draft. The kid has got a ton of power, but he swings and misses quite a bit in the zone. And the same with Gavin. Gavin tends to not always have the best pitch selection. Those are some of the knocks against him. But both of these kids, young men, have quite a bit to bring to whatever organization they end up on. As always, don't forget to join our Facebook group at Clark and Addison, Born Into the Ivy. Also join our Instagram page at Clark and Addison, Born Into the Ivy. Leave some posts or comments in there about what you'd like to hear or what you thought about today's episode. However you subscribe to your podcast, please like and subscribe to Clark and Addison, Born Into the Ivy, so that you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. Also, if you feel so inclined, please make sure to leave a 5-star review and leave me some comments. If you are enjoying this podcast, make sure to tell and share it with your friends or anybody who might be a Cubs or baseball fan. Have a great day, and let's go Cubs. Paisley, send them home.
Go Cubs, go!
Living on the water, counting days since last summer.